But it all begins with an egg. I've got a dragon's egg here. I'm going to give it a shake. Can you hear that? There's something inside. It wants to hatch out, but what does the dragon look like? What's its personality like? You're going to decide. Now, you may have downloaded this worksheet, fun sheet, excuse me, and it doesn't really matter whether you've got it or not, but you could write it there if you want. But the first thing we're going to do before we get on to the really fun bit of deciding what our dragon's like is just think what makes a dragon. And for me, this really helps because sometimes when we're writing, or when I'm writing, I can forget to mention important details. So I've got a jigsaw. I like to think of characters as made up of lots and lots of pieces joined together. And so let's think of the obvious things that a dragon would have. It's most dragons, of course, you can break all these rules, will have wings. Most dragons probably have scales, but they don't really need to, could they? So maybe instead of having scales, they could have fur. Already, I'm ruining my jigsaw. Could they have fur? Could they have... What could their scales be made of? Maybe silver or gold. Now, as ideas come in, I think it should look as messy as possible. Claws, big claws, eyes, of course. And then as I'm going, if I think of an idea, I'm going to write it down. And this is what I'd like you to do as well. Maybe it could look like the sea, eyes like the sea. It could reflect the sun and the light on there. So we've got wings, claws, eyes, scales, belly. I think dragons' bellies are quite fascinating. I like describing the bellies of dragons in the land of Roar. Or its big jaw, okay? And of course, teeth. You can't forget the teeth. Maybe your dragon doesn't have any teeth. Maybe it's going to be a baby. They've not come yet. And then I'm going to say fire. But of course, it doesn't have to breathe fire. What else could your dragon breathe? It could breathe sweets if you wanted it to. It could breathe ice. It could breathe words. Who knows? Now keep going, keep filling up your jigsaw puzzle. The more you put on there, the more interesting your dragon will be. And then I would like you to think about the personality of your dragon. Now you might want to go straight and go, well, dragons, they're just mean and cruel. But they don't have to be, do they? I mean, dragons, they've got this reputation for being ferocious. I've got one behind me. Oh, well, that's Pickle. One behind me. Pickle's not ferocious at all. So I think a good way to think about personality is think about yourself and people you know. So I'm going to think about me. Actually, I am a bit shy. I used to be, and maybe I'm less shy anymore. I'm quite stubborn. I'm not very good at spelling. That's not a personality trait, but I'm getting a bit self-conscious as I write. And then maybe think of people that you know. I'm going to think about my daughter, my youngest daughter. She's very lively. Okay, she's fidgety. I think it'd be quite good to have a fidgety dragon. And then I'm going to think of someone older. I'm going to think about my dad. My dad knows hundreds of facts. Maybe we could have a dragon who knows a lot. He's very knowledgeable and he speaks. My dad speaks 5 languages. Maybe we could have a dragon with a great linguistic ability who can talk to different people all over the world. So once you've got a list of personality traits, think about which one you really like the idea of, and maybe circle a few of them to be your dragon. So I'm going to go fidgety, shy. And I quite like this facts one. I like the idea of my dragon speaking and words pouring out of its mouth. But I'm just going to think about what those facts could be. I think about that a bit longer. Maybe it could be a mathematician dragon. And then, of course, we have the fun of creating our dragon. Now, I have got a lovely template there. Dragons are quite hard to draw, I've discovered. But, you know, you don't have to use a template. You could just like with Kieran's activity, let's just say, put down your pencil. Let's see, and start to draw your dragon. Okay, so you could just draw a dragon and see what happens. Or if you want to use the template, start filling it in. Now, you could just use felt tip pens and start drawing it. Maybe I've decided that my dragon is going to have pink spotty wings. Okay, this is the point where I have to remind myself to talk, because I could just simply start drawing my dragon. And it's got Scales. Scales are fun to draw, but my scales, there we go. I could, if I wanted, get some paper and start sticking bits on and doing collage. I could rip up some silver paper. I could even not use any colour at all. I could get a piece of charcoal and colour the whole dragon in like a smoky, burnt effect. So he looks like he's on fire. I'm really looking forward to doing the eye. I could colour it in or I could stick something on there. And I've got to decide what's going to come out of my dragon's mouth. Let me finish doing a few more scales. And then actually I'm going to give my dragon a furry tail at the end. There we go. Very furry. I'm speed doing this. So when this is the thing that I would spend, and there's a video on my website you can look at, the one I did earlier. I would probably spend a long time doing this and getting carried away, but I'm showing you this in sped up motion. And of course, once you've finished your dragon, there's two things I would like you to give your dragon. One is a name and one is a magical skill, because I think this will help you write a story, especially if your dragon lives in the world you made with Kieran. So the name, of course, it's up to you. I quite like giving my magical creatures human names. The dragons in the Land of Roar are called Pickle, Vlad, and Bad Dragon. Originally, they were called Red Dragon, Blue Dragon, and Bad Dragon, because everything in the Land of Roar was made up by children playing. But in the end, I was writing the word dragon too often, so I had to give them names. I think my children are only allowed to call their pets human names. It makes me sound really mean. I can't really backtrack from that. So we have got a dog called Maggie, and we've got a hamster called William. So maybe your hamster's going to have it could be a hamster with wings dragon. I quite like the idea of that. I'm going to call my dragon the name of my first ever pet hamster, and that is Olga. Okay, that's the name of my dragon. Olga the Shy. And Olga's magical skill is going to be she can see into the future. Dot, dot, dot. So Olga the Shy can see into the future. What will she see? What will she predict? I'm going to go back now to carrying on with my dragon. Now I've got the important information down. I've got my shy, fidgety dragon who can see into the future. She's called Olga the Shy. And now I can carry on culling her in. Right, I'm going to plan what she breathes out. I've said words, but maybe she breathes out predictions about things that are going to happen. So she's going to predict that there's going to be a storm. She's going to predict that she is going to eat. I don't want her to eat people. That's a bit gruesome for this dragon. I think this dragon can eat apples, very healthy, and pick and mix. Do you have pick and mix in Shanghai? I wonder. So pick and mix is when you get to choose different sweets and you put them all in a bag and they weigh them, and then so you pay for them. I absolutely love pick and mix. My children want to have it all the time and I don't let them. Or if I do, I say they're only allowed 10 each and they think that's really mean. She's going to predict that. What else is she going to predict? She's going to meet a friend. And that's good because she lives on her own. So she's going to meet a friend. This is what she breathes out. These are all her predictions. Okay. Now, if I've got one spotty wing, I think that wing might be stripes. Let me see. I've got a big pot of my felt tip pens next to me here. There we go. The stripy wing. She's a very colourful dragon, isn't she? Now, the eye. I still haven't done her eye. I think I should do that next. Maybe it will be like fire. And we find a really good fiery colour. Isn't it amazing how things come to life when you give them eyes?